Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for Serpent X Tech, and it's time for our monthly roundup of what was the most profitable cryptocurrency to mine throughout the month of April 2024. We had the Bitcoin halving take place, and it kind of felt like a buy the rumors, sell the news type of event. And of course, when Bitcoin had pulled back, we also had the altcoins and GP mining profitability. Say, for example, my rigs, which was getting up to the $20-$25 a day range, is now back to literally nothing. And that was before electricity. Right now, if I were to mine with my rigs, I still might be in the $10 to $8 range, but the cost of electricity is pushing me back down into the negative. So it really depends on your electrical rate and a number of different variables that we talked about many times on this channel. But still, I did something different for you. This time, I broke up the data into 4 different charts. So stay tuned, make sure you smash that like button, and let's get into it. Now, if you're new to the channel, we're pitting 6 RTX 3060s from NVIDIA against 6 RX 6600 XTs from AMD. And I'm not just pulling my data from whattomine.com and hashrate.no. There's a number of different API calls that I'm using to grab this data and aggregate it for you. But if we look at whattomine.com, on the 3060, so 6 3060s right now, you're basically making around $2 a day, $1.60 to $2 a day. But after electricity, again, you're in the negative, right? And this is at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, right? This is low. I know my friends in the EU and various countries are paying 40 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you're on renewables or you don't have to pay for electricity, you're doing pretty good. On the hashrate.no website, you're making about $1 a day. But then after electricity, negative 30 cents, negative 23 cents. The only way that you can offset that is, well, there's really 2 ways. One, spec mining, which I talked about how to identify or find those tokens before they even become available or visible on these mining calculators, right? And Son of a Tech does a really good job. I know he has an e-course and locals, but he tells his community members things in advance. If he finds out about a token or they find out about a token before everybody else, they'll communicate with one another. And so if you want kind of like the inside scoop on a new token that just popped up, spec mining, and you're okay with spec mining because it is a risk, Son of a Tech usually is on point. I'm not always on point because I'm busy with the rest of my life and my family that I can't always give you that real-time data as much as I would like to. So if you're interested in spec mining and want to get it ahead of the game, I would urge Son of Tech. And matter of fact, if you go to the description and link, he's doing courses, and I linked to those courses if you're interested. But do what's best for you. Always do what's best for you. Now, the second thing is dual mining. Right? Dual mining starting to gain popularity. More miners are starting to implement it in their, like mining devs are starting to implement it in their miners. So I have data on that. That's a surprise I have for you. But either way, it doesn't matter if you have the NVIDIA or the RX 6600s or AMD. You're still basically anywhere between $1.60 to $2 a day. But then after electricity, your take home or cost is like negative, right? Some of them you might be a few cents positive. Like for example, on this token, which is a Kapow token, your profit's 28 cents a day, right? But like yesterday, some of the OGs like Vertcoin like came back and was doing really good. Almost cursed there for a second. My apologies to any children and family members. But basically it did really good and was very profitable for that short duration. But we haven't got that one coin that just supersedes everything and does really well. Looking at what to mine, again, $1.40 a day, 11-cent take home. So it just varies. Hashrate.no tends to have the more efficient overclocks to save you that extra power or that extra money on electricity costs, while what to mine just brings you the raw data. Either one would work. You just want to always do what's best for you. You look at the data, you set up your rigs, your overclocks, your configuration, and then you test and tune from there. So the best hash rate for the least amount of electricity, so that way you don't have to pay so much on your electric bill. Now, as far as the charts go, let me go ahead and zoom in. So for our NVIDIA side of things, the top 10 most profitable tokens to mine throughout the entire month of April, right? It's got to sustain for all 30 days. It may not be, it might be in the top 10 for the first 5 days, and then it falls off and falls out of the top 10. So this is consistently in the top 10 most profitable tokens to mine. That is Carlson, Dynex, Pyron, Nexa, Nautilus, Novo, Caspa Classic, Hootsat, Nexala AI or Nexala. I'm sorry if I keep pronouncing it incorrectly. Obviously, there's no AI in there. So I'm going to say Nexala. And if I'm wrong, my apologies. Ironfish, right? Ironfish also just forked over into a different algorithm. We had Xano, we had Gram, and we had a dual mining coin also getting really close with Ironfish and Pyron dual mining. but just reserve judgment on dual mining aspect because I got something I want to share with you. So those are your top 10 right there. Carlson, Dynex, Pyron, Nexa, Nautilus, Novo, Casper Classic, Hootsat, Nexala, and Ironfish. Now, if you pay attention to that and we switch over to AMD, our top 10 were Ravencoin, Clore, Game Pass, Neoxa, Voltaic, Ironfish, Atcoin, AI Power Grid, Novo, and then Graham at the very end with Xano, Namira, and Pyron coming up or at the tail end. Now, something I want to point out here is you can see the Capel tokens are doing really good on AMD while they're not doing as good on NVIDIA. What's doing really good on NVIDIA is the Pyron hash, the Carlson hash, the various, forks of the Casper token projects are the most profitable right now. Now, Dynex is an outlier, Nexa is an outlier, Novo is an outlier, but primarily we're seeing Pyron hash and Carlson hash up there besides the ones that I mentioned, including Ironfish. But on the AMD side, it's Kapow, Ironfish, Kapow, Novo, and then Graham, right? And Graham, a lot of people are not paying attention to this. They're looking at the chart. Hashrate.no is saying, hey, this is the most profitable token for the mine. Guys, you're getting hit with a 50% commission. If you go and look at the pools, they clearly state 50% commission, right? So you're not making, I don't know if the calculator, I'm pretty sure the calculators aren't taking that into account. So you have to take that into account. Now, if Hashrate.no or whoever, whatever mining calculator actually adds that data into its math, then cool. But what I see and what I tested when I did my videos is what the Hashrate.no and various calculators were telling me, and what I was actually getting in a 24-hour time frame were two different things, and that 50% commission could be tearing into you. Now, dual mining, right? One of the ways that you could possibly eke out just that little bit more to be more profitable. But dual mining also increases what? The amount of power needed in order to mine, right? So even if our top mining token right now, which is at time of filming, Nice Hash Octopus or the Conflux algorithm plus Casper Classic, a Pyron hash token, we're making around $2.21 a day. But at my electricity rate, that's a negative 60 cents. So there's ebbs and flows, ups and downs. You need to decide what's best for you. Here's what I got as far as the data. The most profitable dual mining tokens throughout the entire month of April were Ironfish Pyron, Ironfish Hootsat, Ironfish Casper Classic, right? All three of those are what? Ironfish and Pyron hash, right? Then you had Iron and Graham. Again, be mindful of the 50% commissions. Hypra and Carlson, Hypra and Nautilus, Hypra and Nexala, and then Octopus Radiant, Conflux Radiant, Ergo Radiant, Nice Hash Autolycos Radiant, Hypra Alphium, so on and so forth. A couple of tokens that I saw start to pop off are really on the AMD side. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But again, Ironfish Pyron, Ironfish Hootsat, Casper Classic, then Graham. But then if you look, all the other tokens after that were quite down. Like they started taking off at the tail end of April, but not consistently throughout April. And that is ETH hash type tokens, right? So Ethereum isn't the only ETH hash token out there. It was just the best one. It was the king, and it brought a lot of GPU miners profitability. But there are other ETH hash algo type tokens that if you dual mine it and Alphium, you could also make a little bit extra. So you make an extra XYZ token along with Alphium. You can then swap that XYZ token or trade it into fiat or into Alphium or into whatever your major currency is, and then just stacking more and more of the currency you truly want or want to hold. But Hypra, Dish Chain, Octaspace, so on and so forth. If we go back to the actual hashrate.no and we scroll down, Hypra is up there. I wouldn't say it's in the top 10. It's close to, but we've seen a lot of ETH hash type tokens besides Kapow start to climb up the charts. The problem is they don't sustain. They might show up for a few days, but then they fall off, and then we're back to square one. So besides Kapow type tokens for your AMD GPUs, there's not a lot besides Ironfish and a few others. And I'm trying to find a dual mining coin, but they got really pushed down today at time of filming. Yeah, so here it is right here. AVS, Alphium, Dish Chain, Alphium, Octaspace, Alphium, Dog Ether, right? Connexum, Alphium, ETH Pow, Alphium, Pow Blocks, Alphium. So this is a way, right, that you can kind of stack more sats but you're sacrificing the cost of your electricity just to get more of the currency that you might want, because maybe you want to get as much Alphium because now new FPGAs and ASICs are on and GPU mining Alphium directly is no longer profitable, or you're trying to find different edges, right? So the different ways I told you, which is spec mining, finding tokens before everybody else, or dual mining to try to offset some of that, are probably going to be your best two ways. But again, all of it's going to be a risk, and it's going to be up to you to stay on top of your rigs. Don't just set it, forget it, come back 6 months later and expect to be making a lot more profit, because if you were continuously switching or keeping your rigs up to date and on the most profitable cryptocurrency, which is why we make these videos, you can make more in the long run. However, let me know your thoughts. Are you dual mining, and what are you dual mining? Right? If you're on AMD, it looks like Kapow type tokens do really good, unless you're on a Pyron slash Ironfish. Whether it's AMD or NVIDIA, those tokens are doing really good for dual mining. Or NVIDIA, like, are you on one of the Carlson Hash, Pyron Hash, Dynex, Nexa, Ironfish? I know a lot of people are doing the dual mining Ironfish, Clore, Ravencoin, Game Pass, Atcoin, AI Power Grid. Are you actually on Gram? I'm interested in knowing. Are you mining Gram, and why? I know a lot of people were mining Gram at the beginning, but I'm not sure how many of you are doing it now. But that's the data for the month. Hopefully I spoke clearly enough for you to understand. The point of these content, or this particular series, is to help give you the data, and then you make the informed decision for your setup, your configuration, all that good stuff. But I wish you nothing but the best. And do me a favor on the way out, hit the like button, make sure you get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date, as well as check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. I'm sorry for running the video a little bit longer, but I wanted to get that extra bit of data. Maybe we might do it again next month. Let me know if you want me to for the month of May. And you just have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one.